I don't really think anyone ever really fully understood the impact and the sacrifice. In fact, I don't even think my dad thought about the impact and the sacrifice that would this taking on this initiative would have had, because of him and the other gentlemen that were involved in the case. When he volunteered to put his name on the case, there were some of the other gentlemen that there was a lot of animosities that arose as a result of that. Some of the other gentlemen were very prominent people. Dad was just a regular old guy, and some of them were lawyers and doctors and various people in the community, but they didn't want to take the sacrifice, or they probably understood what would happen if they made this initiative. So my dad, not understanding, or maybe didn't care, I don't know whether it was that he didn't recognize what would happen, but he went ahead with the case, and even after getting engaged and involved in it, and the sacrifices that had to come from it, all he would ever remember, I remember him saying, he says, "I'm just glad I won." There was a comment that was made by Joe Lewis some years back, "I'm glad I won," and Dad repeated that when the case was won. But the significant sacrifices that the family encountered, no one ever knew. Very few people understood how desperate the Elmore family was. We had nothing. And there was nobody. There were a few people that came to the aid and to the rescue of the family, but no one really knew the sacrifices that we had to endure during that encounter. As a result of losing a business, the 5 and 10 cent store, the liquor store, the taxi business, the photographic business, all of those things went away, and we had nothing. No one knew the sisters' dilemma, 2 young girls having to go to school with the same clothes on often. My mother was a seamstress also, so she made a lot of the clothing that my sisters wore. They always looked immaculate. In fact, you can look at a family picture of myself, my older sister, and my sister next to me, and I mean, we looked like we came out of a Vogue magazine. But after the lawsuit, I remember having to take my corduroy pants that I would wear to school and put them between the mattress and the box spring to press them so that they kind of looked fresh the next day to go to school. I had shoes that I had to put cardboard inside the shoes in order to keep them from getting wet because they had holes in the soles. But those things nobody knew. We kept them to ourselves, and it was a significant impact on the family as a result of that. And I think those stressors weighed heavily on my mom, and the reason she had the nervous breakdown as well. I think that she didn't realize that this would be so much on the family as it became, because her not being a homemaker was very challenging for her. Lately have found articles and things that she used to have parties for my father and the Democratic Party that they established, but social events that you had card parties. I realized that much later in life, but that was during the good times. That was before the lawsuit. So she had a very good life. Dad provided quite well for the family and her. So it was a challenge for her after the fact that no one knew that we would have such a negative impact.